Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. And yeah, today a friend of mine had asked a few years ago at a family reunion for Christmas. Actually, it was a family get together. We had done a craft, and the craft that I had introduced was doing ornaments. And I did a few different kinds, and she was asking for a refresher, and I thought, that's a really good idea to add to the holiday series, isn't it now? So that's what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you these very simple, easy ornaments. Um, so I'm actually going to be showing you two different techniques today. Yeah, so the first one I'm going to start with is the one that this is just paint. So that's the one that I'm going to start with. And then we'll move on to the second technique. And then I'll show you how I zhuzhed it up a little bit. You can just leave them plain because they're beautiful on a tree, or you can add a little something, something to it if you like. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side here. And yeah, put that to the side. And some of the things that you're going to need. So the first thing that I got, this is a set of four. These are plastic ornaments, DIY ornaments I got them from Michael's. Sorry, excuse me. You can order them off of Amazon. Probably can get them at Hobby Lobby if you're in the States, but anything that is a clear plastic ornament, I recommend this style, not the kind that pulls apart. You want ones that just have like a topper that comes off. That's what you're going to want, not necessarily one that has like I said, the ones that pull apart that you can add. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to get that out of the packaging there. There you go. Like yeah, so this one I'm just going to pull the top off like this, and I'm going to put the top to the side so I don't lose it. But yeah, instead, because you can often get ones that split down the center, right? And you get two halves, and then you can put something in and then close them, and then you have your nice little ornament. These ones you want them typically, particularly with the paint, you want to be able to have them so that they stay um, um, together, because otherwise the paint would get caught in that joint there. So you can get plastic ones or you can get glass ones. The glass ones are gorgeous to do. I've done them with alcohol inks. You can melt a wax crayon in them. Those ones you definitely have to be using glass for. Can't use the plastic because this would melt, obviously. Adults only using the crayons because it gets hot. Okay? But basically, all you need is some ornaments. Right now, I mean, they're all half price at Michael's. You can get I think it's 24 packet of this size. So this is about 3.5 inches, I think. Yeah, 3.5 inches. You can get the 3 inch round ones, just the balls, or 2.5 inch round ones. I think it's like a pack of 24 for right now, Canadian, $7. Like, no, wait a minute, I'm lying. That one, it's 15 for that. It's normally 30 for all of them, but still a pretty good deal if you want to get stuff done at the beginning of the season. Still not too bad. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a cup, because you're going to need to be able to sit this into something while it's drying. I will say that this particular technique, both of these techniques actually are not one that you're going to have a lot of control over, because even if you get the pattern that you like as you've put the paint into it, by the time you turn it over and like drain the rest of the paint, because you're not going to leave all of the paint in there, it's going to be something entirely different. The other thing that you're going to need is some acrylic paints. Okay. Can get dollar store ones. So for example, this one's Craft Smart. This one's a enamel gloss. I have some metallic ones. What else have I got here? I have a glitter one that's got like, so it's tinted and then it's got some glitter in it. You can use black, whatever colors you like, doesn't matter. But I just recommend like keep it, particularly for the solid colors, keep it as inexpensive as possible. It doesn't have to be super pricey. This one, I think, well, this one might have come from Michael's, but I do get, you can just get these at the dollar store. Like Dollar Tree has acrylic. Here in Canada, Dollarama, I'm sure your 99 cent shop, whatever, has cheapo acrylic paint. It doesn't have to be anything specific. The only other things that I do recommend, you really will probably want like a gold or a silver, especially for Christmas, right? It's a nice time to have some metallics. So think about your main colors. You don't need a full assortment, but what do you decorate your tree with? Do you have like a theme, or are you making these as a gift and that person has a theme? My theme on my tree is Disney, so it's pretty much any color, it doesn't much matter. But I do have a red base. I have another 4 foot tree upstairs, which is it's kind of like a buffalo check tree, so it's red, red, green, but then also black. So, and it's really pretty. But I've seen like copper with a bronze and turquoise or teal. It's very pretty. Black and gold with white, very classic, stunning. Those kind of things. Traditional red and green and white. Very beautiful, all of it. So choose those colors that you tend to decorate with. Maybe you like to do purple and gold with teal. Beautiful. My mom used to do that on her tree. Maybe you like navy with some silver or navy with some gold. You know, again, choose the colors that you like to do. So the basis of the technique is really very simple. All I'm going to start with is I'm going to take some of my paint. I'm going to open it up here and I'm going to just add some paint into my ornament. And it's going to drip and kind of gather at the bottom. So that's the other thing too. Like I really wanted this to be much more red, but because I put in so much white, the ornament that I had created and has dried now ended up being quite pink. So now I'm trying to get one that will also have the same tones. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be adding as much white. And then we'll do some here. Now, when I have seen this, for people who do it, they don't use nearly as much paint as I am doing because they're conserving their paint. But my reality is I don't use, I have too much paint as it is, and I'm very impatient because the next part can take a bit of time. Which, sometimes you don't mind spending the time, sometimes you do mind spending the time. So the colors that I've used so far, I've used a glitter red, kind of a Christmassy red, some white. This is a champagne gold, so you can kind of see the color tone there, right? And the next one, this is going to be my green. This is a festive green, dazzling metallics. These ones are really pretty in an ornament. If you get some of the ones that you can get, they have an iridescence to them, so almost like a color shift. They're gorgeous on the tree as well. Okay, so you can see here my paint is kind of pooling in the bottom. There's quite a bit of paint in there. So now all I'm going to do is take the ball and I'm going to rotate it. And I managed to get paint on me because I was shaking this the other day and there was quite a bit of paint on top here. So if you're quite concerned about that, put some gloves on, put your thumb over top, and yeah, give it a shake. Because basically now all I'm going to be doing is moving the paint around, trying to cover the majority of the inside. Doesn't have to be totally covered. Because when it's drip drying, essentially, it will a lot of that will kind of cover up some of the spots that have been missed. But just in order to ensure that I'm getting a good adhesion or a good coverage, I like to make sure, so I give it some shakes, it kind of moves my paint around like I'm getting a really interesting pattern here, right? So I had the white stripes, but now because I'm shaking it to this degree, or to this side. So my paint on the inside is now moving and it's pooling in this area down here. So you can see this black spot. I didn't put black in here, so that's an open area. You can see here, this is an open area. So I can look from the inside. If I tilt it this way, I can put my eyeballs in, not in the area here, but I can watch. So I'm trying to keep this in frame for you guys, but I'm just kind of keeping an eye on where is my paint moving on the inside here. I don't want it to come spilling out of the spout. Basically, well, I've got my face there. That's not fun. Okay. This is a little closer than I had intended for you guys to get the camera angle here, but it's definitely going to make you be able to see what I'm doing or see how the colors are moving around on the inside. So I've still got a spot right here that hasn't been covered, and I've got this spot here. So now I'm going to turn this over and I want to work those spots. So you can see here, I'm getting this really cool pattern. But again, don't get too attached to it because that is going to shift soon as I turn it upside down. So you can see here, this is all of the paint that came out of the other bulb that I did. So you're going to have a play with this, but you'll need to leave it probably overnight, quite frankly, in order to make sure that you get that it's dry enough on the inside. So you kind of do it's a 2-day process for this one. I'm just shaking and I can see here from the outside, my paint, that hole there has now been covered. It's now joined in with the white. And I've got one more spot right here. So I don't know if I want to take a chance. Ooh, what's the heck? Okay, so I'm going to have a cloth right here ready to go because I'm going to put my thumb over this and I'm going to give it a bit of a shake. Kind of start to get the paint moving down out of the spout. Shh. Make sure I'm getting that there. And we're starting to get, see, coming over my nail. Again, if you don't want to get paint on yourself, I recommend putting on some gloves. You don't have to do this part, but I don't know. It's kind of, for me, it's part of the fun. And so now I'm just going to give myself a bit of a wipe up here because I did get a little bit of paint came out. So unfortunately, you guys aren't going to be able to see the result of this. Well, I'll probably post a photo of the result of what this one is going to look like once it has completely dried and dribbled out. Dribbled out. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there with the dribbling out. Okay, so inside you can see it's quite well covered. I've managed to get, there's no spots of black on the exterior. So I've covered everything. So now I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to, because this is a weird shaped one, the ball ones fit in these cups very, very easily. So you just want some disposable cups because you're basically going to be filling it with, like all of this paint is going to come out. You can see it's already starting to drip. That's what we want because we don't want that pooling because it'll all sit if, let's see if I can turn this upside down. Shoot. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So if we were to leave this and just have it sit in here, there's so much paint that it would pool in one area. So it would, let's say, for example, drip from here if I had it sitting this way, and then we would be able to almost see the line of paint sitting down here. Or if I left it like this to dry, all of like, so that this area here would thin out, all of that would fall to this side and I would get a pooling of paint right here. That's not what I want. I want it to do its organic thing. This is a very organic craft in terms of you're basically letting it do what it's going to do. The only thing you get to choose is the colors, basically. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting this in here and I'm going to push it into my cup a little bit so that I can see it has a fairly steady base to it. Okay. That way then I know I can put it aside. I can go on to my next project without worrying about it tipping over or something like that. So essentially, those colors were exactly the colors that I used for this ornament. So you can see I've got some of the gold, I've got a little bit of the white mixed in with the darker red here, and the glitter red. And then this is the champagne gold right here. A little bit of the green mixed in as well. So that's some of the green metallic, but a lot of that paint will come out, which is why you don't have to use as much as I used. But again, I'm very impatient. I don't want to have to use just like a dollop and then kind of shake it around vigorously for 20 minutes trying to get it to move all the way around the bauble because it will. Excuse me, but it takes a long time and I don't like waiting for that. So I'm going to move on to uh the next ornament technique. Put that one aside and hopefully not dump it on myself. So the next one that we're going to be doing is utilizing happen to have a bunch of glitter around your home? If you do, let's make some sparkle balls. So I'm pulling out a couple of different kinds of glitter. This is where we're going, and this is the ornament that I'm going to show you what I how I sorry how I zhuzhed it up. But essentially, if you have glitter and you hate getting it all over your house, or you're not sure what to do with it, you're trying to become more eco-friendly, because the glitter, if it's not biodegradable, isn't great, but you might be like me, I've had this for 10 years. So I don't want to just throw it away. That's not good. So let's do something with it. Well, this is a great time to put it in some ornaments. Something that's really cool about these is if you have a Cricut, I have a Cricut, but I am not a Cricut expert and, really have not hardly used it. So I'm not going to show you how to do this part. Lots of people you can Google for that of how to you could personalize these, put somebody's name with vinyl on here, like um, grandma, grandpa, those kind of things. I've seen these where they make them like an elf camera kind of thing. So it makes it look like a shutter. With this, both of them could do the same thing. Even on here, there's still room that you could put a name of somebody on here or something like that if you want to personalize them. That is an option. I won't be showing you that option because I'm not great with Cricut, or I don't know a lot about the Cricut. So there's more people out there that will do that. So the main thing that we need for this technique is we are going to need our clear bauble. Again, one with the removable top. So I'm going to take the top off. And you are going to need some floor polish. You can do this with other mediums. Like I have done this, I think, with white glue, but it gets really heavy and you have to let it drip dry for a long time before you can put your glitter into it. This one you can do it almost immediately. So it creates a really nice stickiness on the inside, doesn't flake out. It's perfect, really good. Okay. You're going to need that. And then you're going to need a selection of glitter. You can use chunky glitter, you can use fine glitter, you can use multiple colors. It does not matter. That's what you're going to want. Ta-da. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to take the lid off of my uh, floor polish. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the floor polish. And the reason why I'm doing this from the top, not using the little squidgy here, the spout, is because you don't want to get air bubbles in your in the the floor polish when it goes into your ornament, because that will still show. Okay, so we are going to just add a little bit of floor polish. Well, that's not a little bit, that's quite a bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this around on the inside. I want to make sure that I'm coating the inside of the bauble. All the way to the top, all the way to the sides. Getting it up there, and then we're going to turn that around to this side. Now, this is another area where, well, actually, I'm just going to say you could put your thumb over this and give it a shake, but then you'll end up creating air bubbles, which we don't necessarily want. So, and you can, the floor polish will create a bit of a film, so you can get a pretty good, let's, up here. Really, I need a spill spot here. It does create a bit of a film on the inside, so you can see where you're putting your furniture polish, where you've missed. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back over top of the bottle here, and I'm going to give it a bit of a spin because I still want to be able to coat the top part of my ornament while I am emptying it. Go. So that got all the way up to the top, which is the intent. That's what I want. I'm just going to put this to the side here, and I'm going to close that up because, we've all seen where I have knocked them over. Okay, and I'm going to give that a bit of a wipe. Go. Okay. Now, so now I've got my bauble with the floor polish in it. Perfect. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take some glitter. So I've got this stuff is dollar store stuff. Doesn't have to be anything super fancy. Again, just choosing the colors that work for your decor, or if you're making this for somebody that works for their decor. That's all we're looking for. Mm, yeah. We're just going to keep adding this in. Now, these are colors here that are from, it's called Wow. And I got this set many, many years ago. They used to carry it at Michael's. But I think I actually got this one from, I get it from, might have gotten this from HomeSense when they used to carry like paper crafting supplies and things like that when they cleared out things. So this is Wow. I know Martha Stewart used to have one as well. This is ultra fine glitter, which is kind of fun. So it gives me a couple of different flake sizes in my ornament, which is kind of fun, kind of nice. So add some of the fine red. Want some more of the red? Bit of the lighter green. So, and you can, basically, I'm just adding this all to the bottom and then I'm going to put my thumb over the top of it and give it a shake. But I'm also kind of tipping it into just some areas, get some coverage there because it'll stick in that area. And then I'm just going to put my thumb over the top again, just like this, give it a shake. A little sticky there, but that's all right. So I've got a little bit of an area just at the top here. I think I actually need to add more glitter. What do you know? Okay, so am I liking how much gold is in there? I think I want to add more red. So let's bring out this red. I've got a lot of green and a lot of gold in here, but I want to add some more red. And so, and I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. It's pretty, there's an area right here where I can see that it hasn't coated. No, sorry, I'm lying. Right here. You can see how dark, like it almost looks a little black. That's because I'm looking and I can see the red down below. That is a dead spot there. So that's what I'm trying to cover. And so that's where I'm adding, I want to add some more red. So there's a couple of places that it hasn't, I didn't have enough glitter on the inside. So we will take care of that. Because, nothing if not glitter. There, it's better. Let's see where it has coated. Oh, sticky. That floor polish, even on the edges here already, sticky. See here that I've gotten a pretty good coverage. So, and again, it looks kind of almost like a glitter tie-dye is essentially how these are gonna kind of come out. Now, if I wanted, what I could have done is I could have just done red and green, or I could have done one full ornament in red, one in gold, one in green, one in whatever. It didn't have to do the mix of colors. But the person that I'm making this for, because of course it's this time of year, so I'm in the midst of gift making season. Their tree is kind of a like gold, green, and silver, or sorry, red, a lighter greenish color, and then gold. So I'm making a set of ornaments for them. So, and in the same way that we've turned over the paint one, I'm going to do the same thing with this one just to allow it to continue to dry. So, and I'm giving it a bit of a shake, like not a ton of glitter came out of there. I mean, there's some, but not much. And we're going to allow that to dry. So at the same time period, basically as the paint one. And while before I move on to the zhuzhing, let's have a look and see what's happening so far with the paint one. So I'm going to move that out of the way. So still dripping. So I'm dripping down the sides, but you can see here, whoop, no, you can't. There we go. The pattern is changing just slightly. So I've got this really pretty gold happening here, more red, a little bit more gold. There's my green right there at the top. A little bit of green, strike of green there. Coming in pretty cool. That's going to be very nice, very nice. works. I'm quite happy with it. That's the nice thing though, is that they're so beautiful. My mom and I made several of these a few years ago, and yeah, she just got around. I just did her tree, and so I was putting this on, and I was like, "Oh, I can't believe you still have these." They're, I mean, I don't know, at least 10 years old. At least 10 years old. Might be even older than that. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is take the topper here, uh, and I'm going to pop this back in. Now, you can just leave it like this. If because I'm going to be adding some things to the edges of it, I do want to take and I'm going to put a little bit of glue from my hot glue gun. Try not to burn my fingers. Ooh, that was a big squidgy of glue, wasn't it now? It's because I said trying not to burn my fingers. Mm. Just because I don't want the cap to come off, because I'm going to be adding, as I said, I'm going to zhuzh it a little bit. But I do want to pull that little squeegee of glue off so that it doesn't get tangled in my ribbon. So now, uh, and let's do that one. Made a bit of a mess of that, but that's okay because, again, like I said, I'll be covering that up. So, two things. This is beautiful just as it is. You could, if you want. Now, if you hadn't done what I did with the little glue here, which you don't need to, if you're just going to put a ribbon on and call it good, right? So if I were to tie this like that, could just leave it that beautiful, just gorgeous on a tree, right? Like that's lovely. There's nothing wrong with that. Can do that. Or a colored ribbon, again, something that coordinates with your decor. So something to this extent, again, you know, and then hang it. Lovely. Could also, if you want something that's a little bit more, take some thicker ribbon like this and just adhere it. So you will need to use your glue gun, but just adhere it around the top, just like that. Put your ribbon on and then put your hanger on, call it good. What I'm going to do is decide which side I like better, not better, which side is uh, happier with there. And I am going to take, so this is a piece of, I was going to say tree branch. It's not real tree branch. What do they call these here? Wired garland ties. So these are from Dollar Tree. So they're $1.50, probably here in Canada, $1.50, maybe $1.75 now. I don't know. I cut one in half. So that's what I used on that one. And I am just going to take this and wrap it around the collar of my ornament, just like this. So we're going to make it look a little Christmassy. Okay. So I've added the shape. So now what I'm going to do is take my glue gun and do a little bit of a bead of glue around the top here. Mm. All righty. Now, trying not to burn yourself, please. There you go. Okay. So now I'm going to pull the all right. There we go. Ugh, get too much of that showing. Okay. So try not to burn yourself here. Okay. Use some silicone finger dobbies or whatever if you need to. Please don't burn yourself. Don't leave your DNA on your glue gun or on your project. Not fun, not fun. Okay, so I'm going to let that set. I'm going to show you guys a really easy way to tie a really nice looking bow. It's called a square knot bow. If you were in, so I'll give you a good shot of that there. If you were in the Girl Guides or Brownies, you might be familiar with this particular knot. So I'm going to take some ribbon, and it doesn't matter what kind of ribbon you use. Whoop, let go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take my ribbon. This is just the ribbon that I've decided I like with my items here. And I'm going to take, I'm using the lid of this E6000 spray because I like the size, in order to get a decent size bow, I like the size of this, the topper. It's round enough. You could use a round pencil. I could use this thing. I could use something as small as this if I wanted, but I'm going to use this because I like the size of it. So what I'm going to do is so that I can show it to you guys, I'm going to tie it towards you guys. So I'm going to put my ribbon kind of about, yeah, well, I'm using the half, the kind of putting it at the half here. And I'm going to take the right side. So we're going to go right over left, right, sorry, right over left. Don't mind the fingers and under. Pull it tight. And then we're going to take left over right and under. And what this does is this is called a square knot. And it gives us just a really nice looking tied end. Okay. So that's going to be, oh, sorry, there we go. You see that? Okay. So again, that was right over left. So right over left and then under, pull it through. And then once you've got those sides, you're going to go left over right and under. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this off. So now you're like, oh, Corinne, how are you supposed to add that to there? Good question. What you're going to do is you take this circular part right here and you cut this like so. Now I have a really lovely little bow, and I'm going to cut the strings on the front a little shorter without having to tie or use like a wire or something like that. I get a great looking little bow essentially that gives me nice depth, nice dimension, and nice ends to it. I think I might need to cut this side a little smaller. Let's go here. Those. There we go. So you see how nice that little knot looks then? And I've got really nice little edges, nice and flat. Sorry, this isn't called a square knot. It's called a flat knot. It's really great for when you're using it on cards or something because it doesn't have a ton of dimension, right? It's quite flat. So this would definitely be able to go through the mail. If you didn't have a lot of dimension on something else, this would definitely be able to go over in the mail. But look at what happens when I put that there. Isn't that nice? So that's one way of finishing it. We could just leave it at that with the bow, call it good, put our hanger on, very nice. But because I have so much stuff, I was gonna say crap, I have so much stuff, Christmas stuff that I need to use, I am pulling out just some bells that I have, jingle bells that I have from the Dollar Tree again. I clearly thought that I was going to be doing a project because I have so many bells, so many bells. So because I have so many, I'm going to use them on this. And we're going to make almost like, I don't know, something that looks like a little bit of holly, I guess, maybe. I don't know, a little bit, little bell, little bell, little bell. But again, please be careful because I don't want you burning your fingers. Okay. So ideally, I would like my bow to go here like that. So let's plan out where we're going to put our items. So we could do the red one down here, like so. See if I can hold all of these things together. Okay, the green one could come in. Green one could come in over here. The bow there. Whoopie-doo. Green one. Let's see, can I hold that? And then the silver, like so. I don't know. Can you guys even see that? Then with the bow. I don't know. That's not bad, hey? What do we think? Now I could do the green here and then do the silver up here, which puts my bow. Oh, yes, I prefer that. There we go. Because the silver ones are a little smaller than the green and the red. Yeah, I prefer that. Okay. So somebody remind me that that's what I'm doing when I get to that point. Okay. So the red, silver's on top of the green. All right. So you can see here we have a very small area. So we'll just, again, please be careful. This is very close to the fingers. Plus, this metal of the jingle bell will pick up the heat from the the hot glue. So just, you know, watch your fingers. Okay, so we're just gonna make sure that that adheres there. I want to do my green one next because it's the next biggest one. So sometimes I like to go bigger to smaller because that way then It gives me the room to, usually the smaller one will fit in between bigger ones, or I can kind of maneuver it a little bit better rather than trying to squish a big thing in between something else that's already been put down, right? That. So hold in there. And then silver one is going to go right there. And so you can see this is getting even smaller. Again, watching the fingers, watching the fingers. This is by the way, this is a really cool glue gun that I'm using here. It's called the Surebond, Surebonder. And it's rechargeable. So it sits on the base and charges, and then you can pick it up and not have to use a cord with it. Like it's so cool. I could leave this sitting here like this for like up to 45 minutes and it would still stay hot. I tend, because I'm in the habit, I put it back on the stand here and it works like a gosh darned. Love it. Okay, so now I want to take my little bow and I'm going to sit it right in that area there. So I'm actually going to add the adhesive here rather than heating up my fingers with the fabric of the bow here. Stick that in there like so. Trying only to keep just a finger there. Right. Set enough. And now I'm going to take a little bit more of the ribbon to do my hanger. Righty. There we go. 2 ornaments. All done. Really cute. Both of them, again, really nice. And as I said, you could personalize these. If you have a Cricut or a sticker maker or something like that, you could certainly stick a name or some snowflakes or some, if you wanted to do something like this in a dark, like a blue, like a couple of different shades of blue, you could do one in like a really nice navy, another one in a sky blue, and then you could get like laser stickers or something from the dollar store, like just the flat ones, pull those off and stick them on the outside. That'd be really pretty. Look like a snow-filled sky or something. Gorgeous, gorgeous. That'd be really pretty. But those are going to be, and the jingle bells actually work. So that's kind of fun too. All right, folks, that's going to be the video. Actually, I'll show you where we're sitting so far with let's move these out of the way so I don't get paint on my ribbons because I don't want so be what would be just my luck, right? So here, I don't know if you guys can see how much, oops. So there's quite a bit of paint that has already tipped out, so not too bad. Here's where we're at. Almost looks like clouds, like a sky or a meteor shower. It's a very cool effect. Not something I planned, just what's happening. Nice deep red tone here, some green, a little bit of gold, a little bit of green still here, a little bit of green still here. Yeah, I'm really happy. This is going to be really pretty. And I still can't tell you what it's going to look like because it's still got a lot of dry time left to go here. But I'm sure it'll be gorgeous because it's organic and it just ends up coming out usually very, very lovely. I've never made one that I didn't like the end result. So just, again, pay attention to your color theory because some of the paint colors will mix together, but yeah, can't go wrong. Just a nice, fun little craft to do while you've got some time. Great with the kiddos. Yeah, family reunions. That's what we did it for. So I hope you guys had a enjoyed the class. Please remember to like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Love to have you here. Remember to keep your comments kind, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.